I am Jesse Owens, from the series Ordinary People Change the World, by Brad Meltzer, illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. I am Jesse Owens. I'm from a big family, the youngest of 10 kids, in a small town called Oakville, Alabama. Here he is. I can tell he was born special. My real name wasn't Jesse. It was James Cleveland Owens, though everyone called me by my initials, JC. I was skinny as a kid, and sick a lot. At 5 years old, I noticed a bump in my chest. That doesn't look good. We lived really far from doctors, and even if we were close, we couldn't afford one. My mother was one of the strongest and most determined people I knew. I'm going to take off the bump now, JC. Will it hurt? I remember seeing the tears in my dad's eyes. It was one of the hardest moments of my life, but I got through it. I always said you were born special, my special boy. The next day, I was sitting up and eating. The day after that, I was walking. And the following day, I was back working in the fields. When I was a boy, my family farmed cotton. My grandparents had been enslaved. On these farms, life was hard. Since we were black, our only options were tough, low-paying jobs with no way to advance. Dad, it's 4 a.m. Doesn't matter. Time to work. We were so poor, our house didn't even have a proper roof or beds. This is where I slept, in a potato sack on the floor. We couldn't even afford clothes. One day, a landowner's son told me he dreamed of going to something called college. He said it was a special school where you could be anything you want. I told my family, I want to go to college too. College? That's never happening. Thankfully, I was able to use my time in the fields for something amazing, talking with my dad. He'd give me great advice like, no matter how much other people have, never envy them. Besides family, my father cared about 3 things in life: God, cotton, and running. Sunday afternoons, he loved setting up a race. On your mark, get set. Dad ran like no one else, like a train blurring when it sped past. He was the fastest in our county. I wanted to be just like him. Even as a boy, I loved running. You could do it all by yourself. It didn't require money, just your own strength and determination. I was fast, too. When we played tag, no one could catch me. Get him! You get him! It's impossible! When I was 9 years old, my family left Alabama. We heard stories about a place up north where black people had more options. Where are we gonna go, Mama? To a better life. My parents wanted us to get a proper education, so we'd have the opportunities they never had. Where did we go? Cleveland, Ohio. It felt like a different world. In school, my southern accent was so thick, some teachers couldn't understand me. What's your name? JC? Jesse? JC. Got it. Everyone, meet Jesse Owens. That's really how he got his name. The good news was, there were jobs for almost all of us. My mom and sister cleaned houses, while I worked part-time shining shoes and pumping gas. I also loved working at greenhouses, tending baby oak trees. I dreamed of one day having my own house with a big oak in front. But no matter how hard we worked, money was always tight. We couldn't even afford a Christmas tree. My dad would get a tree, a free one, after hauling away all the unsold trees. Every year he worked on the holiday and we'd celebrate Christmas a day late. There were no ornaments, just 3 pieces of Mom's jewelry and our tattered clothing. Those socks make it look good. I had no idea it was all about to change. It's amazing how one person can affect your life. This is my junior high school teacher. I'm Coach Charles Riley. Jesse Owens. Nice to meet you, Jesse. You're clearly one of the fastest kids in school. If you join the track team, I think you can be faster. You'll have to work hard, though. I was never afraid of hard work. Because of my after-school jobs, I could only train in the mornings. Every day, we'd meet as the sun was coming up. Knees up, head up, watch form. Coach would be by my side as I ran on the muddy track. Come on, you're faster than that. And in the gymnasium, another lap. Coach, I don't think I can. You can. Build that stamina. Even while I ran in place. Pull against the harness. It'll build strength. Keep working on that form. When I was 15, Coach Riley set up a 100-yard dash on the sidewalk. On your mark, get set. I ran it in 11 seconds, only about a second and a half shy of what was then the world record. No 8th grader can run that fast. The next day, he made me do it again just to be sure. 11 seconds. This kid's one of the fastest on the planet. It was time for my first official race. On your mark, get set. I sprinted to an early lead. I thought I'd win for sure. My lead didn't last long. By the time the race was finished, I'd come in 4th. I was so focused on my competitors that day and so upset, but Coach Riley encouraged me. You need to stop worrying about the other runners. Focus on yourself. Show them what they can't see yet, your determination. He was the first white man I really knew. He taught me how to be a better runner, and at a time when so many treated black people differently, we treated each other equally and taught each other how to be better men. Soon after, I was in a 220-yard dash. Like before, I had an early lead. This time, though, when I got tired, I realized I had it more in me. I dug deep, I pushed harder. And they still passed me by. It wasn't enough. I lost again. I was so frustrated I kept running, even after the race was done. To my surprise, Coach Riley was smiling. Congratulations. For what? I lost. No, you didn't. Even when the race was over, you didn't focus on the other runners. You kept going. That's a win. You overcame your greatest opponent. I knew what he meant. My greatest opponent was myself. By age 18, I was one of the country's best sprinters and long jumpers. But in the semifinal round to make it to the Olympics, you got this, Jesse. I lost again. I wasn't ready yet. Here's the thing about losing. It'll always teach you something. That day, I saw the best runners up close. They were human beings, just like me. That meant they could be beaten. Next time we raced, I'd make sure the crowd was cheering for me. On June 17, 1933, I ran the 100-yard dash in 9.4 seconds, tying the world record. From there, I finally made it to college, a place called Ohio State. We'd like to make you team captain, Jesse. Coach Larry Snyder. They'd never had a black captain of a varsity team before. That didn't mean I was suddenly treated fairly, though. Black students weren't allowed to live in the best dorms. That's not fair. Or go to most nearby restaurants and movie theaters. Whites only. Every day, my running gave me an opportunity, but it didn't give me equality. My finest day was here, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Earlier in the week, I'd injured myself. Jesse, I'm sorry, I can't let you run. But Coach, if you hurt yourself, it could ruin your chance at the Olympics and all your tomorrows. I looked at him and said something I'd never said before. When you come from where I do, you don't really believe in tomorrows. Coach knew I deserved my chance. One race, Jesse. Then let's see how you feel. I was in so much pain. They had to help me into my uniform. But as any sprinter knows, the 100-yard dash has a few key seconds. The first is when you come out of those blocks. The next is when you take those first strides into position. But the most important is the last part of the race, when you see what you're made of. That day, in a single hour, I broke 3 world records and tied another in running, the low hurdles, and the long jump. The Scarlet Comet, the Buckeye Bullet, the world's fastest human! From there, I became one of the most famous runners in the country, but my hardest challenge was still ahead. Back then in Germany, there were people known as Nazis who didn't like black people, Jewish people, and other groups different from them. The Nazis were led by a terrible man named Adolf Hitler, who believed that white Germans were better than everyone else. In 1936, his plan was to use the Olympics to prove it. I want the world to see we are not just better, we are stronger. The black and Jewish athletes are inferior. They are nothing compared to our blonde and blue-eyed supermen. Most people on our track and field team were like me, poor black Southerners. Hitler hated us because of our skin color. The German journalists wouldn't even use my name. They thought their win was guaranteed. The world will see how weak they are. They were wrong. Jesse Owens wins the gold. He just tied the world record. The 100-meter dash was the most prestigious track and field event, and I, a black man, had won it in front of 100,000 white Germans. 100-meter dash gold medal, 10.3 seconds. I thought the crowd would boo me, but instead of cheering Hitler's name, they cheered mine. Jesse Owens, Jesse Owens, incredible! Of course, there was one person who wasn't cheering. Hitler refused to shake my hand like he did with other athletes. Lucky for me, not everyone followed his example. This is the best German long jumper, Karl Ludwig Loos Long. Hitler called him a perfect example of Nazi superiority. Loos should have been my rival. Don't worry, Loos, a black man will never win. He should have been my enemy. Yet, when I jumped farther than anyone, another gold! Jesse Owens sets a new Olympic record! Long jump gold medal, 8.06 meters! Loos put his hand on my shoulder and congratulated me. I put my arm around him. We both knew Hitler was watching. We knew the crowd was watching. That was the point. Sports is about more than ability. It's about more than winning and losing. At its best, it's about character. Woo-hoo! In my life, people thought less of me because of where I was born. They counted me out because of the color of my skin. But others pushed me to improve, helping me find my potential. That's when I took off. One day, you'll have your own races to run, your own hurdles to leap. Just remember, it's not about how fast you go. What matters is that you don't stop when it gets hard. Dig deep, push yourself, and show what you've got inside. When you do, you'll always be a winner. In the 1936 Olympics, Jesse Owens competed in 4 events: the 100-meter, the 200 meters, the long jump, and the 4x100 relay. He won gold medals in all 4. To this day, his accomplishment in Michigan, breaking 3 world records in an hour, has never been done again. Although he fought racism in Berlin, he sadly wasn't completely welcomed at home. When he got back to America, a ticker tape parade was held in his honor, but he was forced to ride the freight elevator to the reception at the Waldorf Astoria. Today in Berlin, Germany, there's a Jesse Owens Boulevard and even a school named after him. Can we say it now? Say it. On your mark, get set, go! Life is not a sprint. It's a marathon, a long-distance race that goes over hills and through valleys. Here's the real secret. Don't focus on the finish line or what other runners are doing. Focus on doing right. Focus on pushing hard. Focus on your personal best. That's where you see what you're made of. Along your path, it'll be easy to find competitors. It's better to find teammates. I am Jesse Owens. In the race of life, I defy expectations. Find the good. It's all around you. Find it, showcase it, and you'll start believing it. Jesse Owens. Timeline. September 12, 1913. Born in Oakville, Alabama. 1922. Family moves to Cleveland, Ohio. 1927. Starts Fairmount Junior High and meets Coach Charles Riley. 1928. Sets his first records in junior high in the long jump and high jump. 1932. Competes at Northwestern in Olympic tryouts, losing in all 3 events. 1933. At National Championship ties world record in 100-yard dash. October 9th, 1933. Enrolls at Ohio State University. May 25th, 1935. Breaks 3 world records in 1 hour in Ann Arbor, Michigan. 1935. Marries Minnie Ruth Solomon. August 1936. Wins 4 gold medals at Berlin Olympics and sets 3 new world records. August 5th, 1976. Is awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. March 31st, 1980. Dies of lung cancer in Tucson, Arizona. Top photo is Jesse Owens at the 1936 Olympic Games. The bottom left is Luz Long and Jesse Owens. The bottom right is the 1936 Olympic medal ceremony.